Hey there, movie fans across the United States. Welcome back to the channel where we break down the most twisted, thought-provoking films that Hollywood throws our way, giving you all the juicy details without you having to hit pause on your busy life. Today we're diving deep into Together, the 2025 supernatural body horror flick that's got everyone talking about relationships in a whole new, grotesque light. Directed and written by Michael Shanks in his killer debut, this movie stars a real-life couple, Dave Franco as Tim and Alison Brie as Millie, with Damon Harriman bringing the creeps as Jamie. If you've ever felt stuck in a long-term relationship, wondering if you're losing yourself in your partner, this film hits home hard. Think The Fly meets Eternal Sunshine, but with practical effects that'll make you squirm and laugh at the same time. All right, let's get into the story from the very beginning. The film opens with a chilling hook that sets the tone for all the horror to come. A search party scours the dark woods for a missing couple, Carrie and Simon, with two dogs leading the way into a hidden underground cave. The dogs drink from this eerie, glowing pool at the cave's center, and later that night, their owner hears horrifying crackling sounds. Turns out the pups have fused together in a writhing, fleshy mass, whimpering in agony as their bodies merge at the hips. It's a brutal practical effects showcase right off the bat, making your skin crawl and foreshadowing the nightmare ahead. Cut to our main couple, Tim and Millie in the bustling city, throwing a going-away party before their big move to the countryside. Tim, a charming but aimless musician in his 30s, is still chasing gigs with his band, while Millie, the more grounded teacher, has landed a new job that promises a fresh start. They've been together for over a decade, but things feel off. During the party, Millie playfully proposes in front of their friends with an invisible ring, and Tim hesitates just a beat too long before saying yes, creating that awkward tension we've all felt when a relationship's cracks start showing. It's relatable stuff for anyone who's been in a long-haul romance, where the sparks faded, but you're too intertwined to walk away. As they pack up, they keep reassuring each other that it's not a real goodbye to their old life, but you can sense the underlying doubt, especially since Tim doesn't even have a driver's license and relies on Millie for everything, highlighting his subtle dependency. They arrive at their new cozy cottage in the quiet countryside, hoping the change will reignite things. But right away, the place gives off eerie vibes. Tim hears scratching noises in the ceiling and discovers a rat king, a bunch of rats tangled and fused by their tails in a disgusting, squirming ball that screams symbolism for what's coming. Millie brushes it off, excited about her first day teaching at the local school, where she meets Jamie, this overly friendly co-worker who lives nearby and offers to help with anything. But there's something off about his eager smile, like he's watching them a little too closely. Meanwhile, Tim tries to settle in, working on his music, but the isolation amplifies their issues. They haven't been intimate in ages, and when Millie tries to initiate, Tim dodges it, leading to those raw conversations about what's wrong with their connection. To clear their heads, they head out for a weekend hike in the nearby woods, the same trails where that couple went missing. But they ignore the warnings because, hey, what could go wrong on a romantic outing? A sudden storm rolls in, and they stumble, falling into this hidden underground cave with walls that look almost organic, pulsating like something alive, straight out of an alien nightmare. Trapped overnight, they huddle together, sharing vulnerable talks about their fears. Tim admits his hesitation stems from childhood trauma, watching his mom cling to his dad's memory like a corpse after his death, while Millie confesses she's always the fixer, scared of being alone. As the night drags on, Tim gets severely dehydrated and, in a desperate move, drinks from that murky pool at the cave's heart. You know it's a bad idea the second he does it, but it's one of those split-second choices that mirrors ignoring red flags in a relationship. They escape the next morning when the storm clears, but something's shifted. At first, it's subtle. Their intimacy explodes back to life, with this frantic, passionate hookup in a bar bathroom stall that's equal parts hot and chaotic, leaving them breathless and reconnected. But soon the supernatural horror kicks in. Their bodies start uncontrollably pulling toward each other, like magnets, and during another intimate moment, Tim's body gets stuck inside Millie's in a terrifying case of supernatural penis captivus, forcing them to rip apart in agony as a student walks in on the chaos. Millie covers it up with a lame excuse about lady problems, but Jamie bursts in, looking suspicious, adding to the paranoia. Back home, the fusion worsens. Their legs glue together with this sticky skin-like goo, stretching and merging in grotesque ways, with practical effects showing skin tearing and bones shifting that'll have you covering your eyes while peeking through your fingers. Tim has seizure-like episodes where his body twists unnaturally, mimicking Millie's movements even when apart, like banging his head in the shower. And one night, he chokes on her hair in his sleep, yanking it out in a panic. It's body horror at its finest, blending gross-out moments with dark humor, like when they try to explain it away as a weird rash. But deep down, they're freaking out about what this means for their already fragile bond. Desperation sets in as the merging accelerates. They research the missing couple online, finding their last post with coordinates near their house and a mysterious bell symbol that matches one in town. Tim feels an irresistible pull back to Millie, ditching his band gig to walk miles to her school, where she hides him in the bathroom for that steamy but disastrous encounter. They fight about it, with Millie accusing Tim of being like his mom, obsessed with clinging to something dead, which cuts deep and forces him to confront his abandonment fears. That night, an invisible force drags them from separate rooms, fusing their arms in a fleshy, unbreakable bond, skin stretching, secretions oozing, the works. They pop muscle relaxers like diazepam to loosen it temporarily, passing out in relief, but wake up merged again, leading to the film's most harrowing scene. Millie grabs that reciprocating saw from the previous owners and hacks through their conjoined arms, blood spraying everywhere, bones crunching with brutal sound design, screams echoing as they separate in excruciating pain. It's a moment that captures the agony of trying to break free from a toxic relationship, but it's only a temporary fix, buying them time while leaving scars both physical and emotional. Millie, still shaken, heads to Jamie's house to retrieve her keys she accidentally left behind. And that's when the plot thickens. She stumbles on an old home video in his living room showing what looks like a wedding ritual, but twisted. Two men, one resembling Jamie, slice their wrists and press them together, merging into one, being an occult-like ceremony. Jamie catches her, pours a glass of water suspiciously like the cave's pool, and confesses he's the fused result of that ritual, part of a weird group believing in becoming whole through unity, inspired by Plato's idea of humans once being fused souls split by the gods and forever searching for their halves. Jamie urges Millie to accept the transformation, warning that fighting it leads to a fate worse than death, like the missing hikers who ended up as a rotting, half-merged abomination. He even wears dual wedding rings as a hint to his past, but when she resists, he slashes her arm open in a violent scuffle, trying to force the fusion, and she fights back, hitting him hard enough to briefly split his body into two writhing forms before he reforms, revealing the horror of his existence. Millie escapes, bleeding profusely, staggering home in shock. Meanwhile, Tim, driven by guilt and determination, heads back to the cave alone with a flashlight, the suspense building as he descends into the darkness. The walls aren't just rock, they're breathing, pulsating like a massive organism made from countless fused bodies, possibly the entire cult or previous victims, with faces emerging from the flesh and faint whispers echoing. He finds the missing couple's remains, Carrie and Simon, grotesquely merged but one side dead and decaying from a neck stab, the survivor trapped in eternal agony attached to a corpse. It's pure nightmare fuel, Cronenberg meets Carpenter, showing the terrifying alternative if you don't fully embrace the change. Tim slashes his way free, horrified by the realization that the cave's entity preys on codependent couples, splitting souls and forcing literal unity as a twisted form of love, feeding on their emotional baggage. Rushing home, Tim finds Millie unconscious on the floor, bleeding out from her wound. In a heart-wrenching act of sacrifice, he lets their arms fuse again, somehow transfusing his life force through the bond to stabilize her, proving his love in the most messed up way possible. When she wakes, they're partially merged, and in a tearful confession, Tim opens up about his deep-seated fears of abandonment, rooted in his mom's unhealthy attachment to his dad's memory, while Millie admits her own codependent tendencies, always trying to fix things instead of facing the rot. Realizing fighting it only leads to more pain, they decide to stop resisting. Why suffer apart when they can truly become one? They embrace fully, dancing naked around the house to the ironic strains of the Spice Girls' Two Become One, the fusion accelerating with skin melting like wax, limbs twisting and reshaping, gooey secretions binding them in a symphony of gross sounds and visuals, until they're a single androgynous being, seamless, beautiful in a horrifying way, with no trace of their individual selves left. It's a climax that's equal parts romantic and repulsive, leaving you questioning if this is salvation or damnation, as the practical prosthetics and CGI blend to create something that'll stick in your mind long after the credits roll. The film wraps with an ambiguous, chilling finale. Millie's parents show up unannounced for a surprise visit, ringing the doorbell, which is now that symbolic cult bell from the town, hinting they've fully bought into the ideology. The door swings open to Tilly, the merged form of Tim and Millie, looking normal at first glance but eerily combined, inviting them in with a casual smile that masks the horror. It's left open-ended. Are they happy in this new wholeness, trapped in eternal codependency, poised to convert others and continue the cycle? The screen fades out on that unsettling implication, forcing you to ponder the true cost of staying together. Throughout, the story weaves in themes of toxic love, where codependency isn't just emotional but physical, drawing from Plato's Symposium to flip the romantic ideal of soulmates into a nightmare of lost identity, with Tim's arc from hesitant partner to willing sacrificer, and Millie's from resilient fixer to accepting participant, mirroring real-life relationship struggles that so many of us in the US can relate to, especially in a culture obsessed with happily ever afters. Whew, what a wild, sticky ride that was. Together clocks in at an 8.5 out of 10 for me, with its innovative blend of horror, humor, and heart making it a standout for 2025. Though the cult lore could have been fleshed out more. If this recap had you glued to your screen, drop a like, share your thoughts in the comments. What did you think of that ending? And have you ever felt fused in a relationship? And don't forget to subscribe for more deep dives like this. Thanks for watching, stay spooky, and I'll catch you in the next one.